I think most of you understand how the game works. This was never culturally, New England to Tampa was always a weird fit. One is academic, cold weather, Boston, politics, sports, a power broker's town. One, Tampa, Ybor City, cocktails early, a goofy franchise. One, obsessed quarterback. One, dysfunctional franchise. Tom went there for more control and better weapons. He got the weapons. He got the Super Bowl. But what Tom never truly got, even in his Super Bowl winning season, was control. And that Arians is a seat of the pants, go with your gut coach. When Arians, and I like Bruce, but when he went to CBS to broadcast, the feeling was, he wasn't overly prepared. He was funny. People liked him. He is a seat of the pants guy, and Brady's not. This was always a weird cultural fit.
Like a motherfucker. We out there big cause we had to. Hey, y'all being safe out there, bro? I heard they slapping niggas at the motherfucking Oscars, baby. Move safe.
It's a new day. Anyone can get it anytime.
Niggas getting slapped in velvet. Right? Y'all move safe out here.
Motherfuckers walking up on motherfuckers with the hard bottoms. And
you feel me?
With
the clickety-clack.
With the clickety-clack.
You know what I'm saying? And
you hear the goddamn doom impending. With the clickety-clack walking up on your ass.
And then fixing their jacket, walking off that motherfucker like, yeah, bitch.
We know. I think we all had a sense that Will Smith was going to get his first Oscar off that role. I don't think there's any reason for Will Smith to participate in a stage slap Chris Rock to take away from what was probably one of the most incredible nights and definitely the most incredible honor of his career. He's going to go stage slapping someone to take away from that moment? I don't think so. I think his emotions got the best of him. If you think that his emotions got the best of him. Because the reality is, number one, there are so many people that does not have a wife, that doesn't have a fiance, that doesn't have a girlfriend, or that doesn't have a husband, that doesn't have a boyfriend, that doesn't have a fiance. Saying, oh, that's ridiculous and you shouldn't have done that, but you also don't know how it feels to share in someone's pain. And so the reality is, was it a funny joke? With no context, okay, yeah, it's a funny joke, but guess who did have context? Jada had context. Guess who did have context? Will had context. Guess who did have context? All of those that knew and saw Jada's announcement a little while back that she had alopecia.
We went to dinner last night and we were talking about you coming to the podcast and we're like, okay, we're at safety. You're coming to the A-gap. What's the best way to tackle?
I'm not gonna give you nothing. That's the problem.
This is my answer. I said, okay, I understand he's big and people will want to go to his legs, but his legs are moving fast and they're big. So they're hard to tackle.
That's right.
I said, I'm just gonna chest you up.
I'm gonna take the shot.
I'm gonna chest you up. We're gonna both go to the ground. It's not gonna look good for me.
No. We're
Next
not
play.
both gonna go to the ground though. See, that's the mistake right there. He thinks we both going to the ground, but I'm not going to the ground. See?
We got some turf. We got some turf. We can line it up.
We can line it up. That part I'm certain of.
Let's face it. Like, it doesn't quite add up. It really doesn't. Because when I was in the car listening to the press conference, someone asked Bruce, they're like, when did you have a change of heart? Because when we were talking to you at the Combine, you were so excited. You were like reinvigorated. And then a month later, you're just out. It doesn't quite add up. And listen, whether Brady forced him out, whether the owner forced him out, like, let's face it. We had been talking about Brady not really retiring, even though he was retired, the entire time. But that couple days before he officially unretired, he was in Europe with the Glazer family. So he's in Europe with the Glazer family at Man U. Then he unretires, and then as Bruce Arians said, he told Tom a couple days later he's retiring. Like, just put the pieces of the puzzle together. That's not saying Tom cut his head off. That's not saying that he did some total power play. But, like, let's just face it, no one retires at this time. And as several people have pointed out, the last guy to retire, walk away, however you want to consider it, at the owners' meetings was Jimmy Johnson. Well, why did that happen? He had a falling out with Jerry Jones. He had a falling out. Did he have a falling out with Tom Brady? I don't know. They're going to deny it. They played it perfectly on social media, but it's okay to go, yeah, this doesn't pass the smell test.
So my first year was his second year. JB been in the conference finals 3 times. He went the year before when I got there, and then the bubble year. And I've been twice. So we've had way more success than we haven't. Last year, was the weirdest season in NBA history with COVID
Absolutely.
protocols, no fans, guys dealing with COVID, no vaccine. Like, it was the weirdest season. He get hurt. We was a 7 seed. We made the playoffs. Wasn't great. Started off rocky this year, so it was like a rough year and a half. And we didn't play great that time, but it is what it is. But we've had way more success together than we haven't. We've made the playoffs every year. And I think in this league, what I've realized is everybody will say you can't win until you do. Nobody can win a championship. Nobody can be the best player on the championship team until they do it.
Until you do it.
So why are LeBron, AD, and Russ with no center playing relatively well? And why are LeBron and AD in general, in the totality of their minutes, playing so poorly? And the obvious reason why was throughout the entire season, the Lakers either forced by injury at various points or simply because of malpractice from the coaching staff, they very frequently played their worst players alongside LeBron James and Anthony Davis.
When looking at him returning for the Nets, obviously a big deal. Number one, you can get more continuity and playing more games. You get more familiarity with each other. And coming down the stretch, I think that's very important. Number two is we're headed into the playoffs, and one game can change a series, and I don't think people really understand that. But one game can shift an entire series. And so all of a sudden there's two home games, 2 road games in the beginning of a 7-game series, and you miss 2 of those games. All it takes is for one of those games to get away from you, and you can, lose total control of a series. And so I think, that's obviously going to help Kyrie and the Brooklyn Nets, Kyrie, KD, and the Brooklyn Nets. Just having Kyrie there full time, I think it was absolutely ridiculous that this even went this long when they start rolling back the mandates for all others weeks ago. One of the craziest things ever a guy can go sit in the stands and watch the game, but he can't play in the game.
Well. So Kansas City, which has 12 draft picks and a lot of cap space, loses Tyreek Hill, and what do you know? They're adding really nice players. We always overreact to this stuff. About 33% of free agents hit are highly productive. That means almost 70% are not. Listen, Tyreek Hill is great, but he's going to go from Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes to rookie head coach Mike McDaniel and Tua. Call me zany, I see a drop-off in production. The Chiefs went out and got Juju Smith-Schuster. He was a good slot receiver with an old bad quarterback and a terrible O-line. What's he going to be in Kansas City? The reality is, and we know this to be true, if just a bunch of great actors made great movies, then you just, as a studio, hire 5 or 6 A-list actors, regardless of the plot, and put them on screen. But we know that some of the biggest busts in Hollywood history, the biggest flops, have been when you throw multiple A-list actors together.